I have been playing Cubecraft Skyblock for a few years now. One thing I've always struggled with is making money. So in today's video I use some OP strats to see how much money I can officially make in just 100 days. And if you guys do enjoy at any point in time, don't forget to hit that sub button, hit the like button and turn on notifications. Day 801 started with me grabbing some diamonds so I could repair my diamond pick. Then I decided to give my meat to the bald guy because we all know he enjoys it. I then decided to buy a bunch of creeper and pig spawners from the bald guy so I could add them to my grinder so I can make a ton of money. Now that I had barely any coins after spending all my money, I then decided to go and get to work and destroy this horrible structure that I built in a previous video. Then I harvested up a ton of nether ore, which I then sold to the bald guy, which put us at 9 million coins, which is pretty insane. Over the next couple of days I got to work on just removing all these terrible structures just laying around, and then I decided to move my bald guy into a better love shack. So I placed down a bed, moved the bald guy into the new love shack, and we may or may not have got busy. And of course I named it the love shack because everyone needs to know. I then spent day 805 mining a ton of dark oak trees and mining 1k lapis. It was finally time for me to finish off my melon farm, so that's what I did for the next few days. I placed down hundreds if not thousands of glass blocks, which meant of course I had to buy a ton of sand from the bald guy, and then I got to work on placing it all down. I planted down a ton of spruce saplings because I was going to need a ton of wood if I wanted to finish this farm. After finishing building my melon farm, I then got to work on my carrot farm, so I placed down a ton of glass and a ton of spruce wood, and after a while, I finally finished. And of course, I had to show off that I'm a professional gamer and hit a epic water bucket clutch. The next day, I decided to harvest up a ton of ores to get some XP, so I could enchant my diamond pick with Fortune 4, which I then tested out on a bunch of ores like quartz, and then I moved all my old ores right next to my beacon so they're easier to mine. And then I decided to replace my diamond armor because I was too poor to repair it. Over the next few days, I got to work on a blaze quest which required me to kill a bunch of blazes, so I built a temporary grinder in the nether so I could murder a ton of blazes. But don't worry, I definitely didn't kill all their children. And after murdering a ton of blazes, I was finally able to complete the quest, which I then claimed for some rewards. I had a plan to make a ginormous cactus farm because if you didn't know, in Cubecraft, cactus is extremely OP with one cactus selling for 200 coins, which means one stack sells for 12,800. So if you build a big enough cactus farm, which I started working on, I could make a farm that could generate millions an hour. So that was what I did. I got to work on building a massive cactus farm. Unfortunately, I underestimated how much cobblestone I was going to need for this farm, so day 835 I crafted up a new stone pickaxe with efficiency 5 and then spent the whole day mining a ton of cobblestone. With all the cobblestone I was able to collect, I then got back to work on crafting the biggest cactus farm on Cubecraft Skyblock. And also I decided to tell you guys to subscribe, so do that right now. And I got back to work placing tons of cactus, and then eventually I was able to finish 99% of the first layer. Another thing I underestimated was how much hoppers this farm was gonna need, so I was gonna need a ton of iron to finish the first layer. And after what felt like forever, I was finally able to finish the first layer of the cactus farm. All I needed to do was place a few more fence posts, which I did. With phase 1 completed, I wanted to spend the second phase trying to make as much money as possible, because that was the goal of this video. I wanted to make over 100 million in just one episode. So I harvested up a ton of sugarcane, did an epic water bucket clutch, and then I sold all my sugarcane, which is definitely sugarcane, to the bald guy, because we all know he likes to pay a high price for a bunch of sweet white powder. After selling a bunch of powder to the bald guy, I then gathered up a ton of nether quartz and lapis for the quest. Then I travelled to the nether to gather up a ton of nether wart, which again I sold to the bald guy for an extremely overpriced price. And then I also sold some other powder to the bald guy, because we all know he loves powder. I don't know how many times I can make this joke in one video, but it's not gonna stop me. Day 854, I crafted up a ton of hoppers for the cactus farm. Then I sold a bunch of logs to the bald guy for over 2 million coins, which is pretty insane to say my wood is overpriced. After placing down a bunch of hoppers on my cactus farm, I then got to work on removing this terrible shitty little cobblestone generator that I built in a very early episode. And of course, I replaced the terrible generator that I built before with an even better one, which is pretty much the exact same, it just looks nicer. And after mining up some stone, I then decided to mine some iron and some lapis. Then I decided to grab a ton of melons so I could sell them to the bald guy. I also decided it was time to move my nether beacon right next to my ores so I'm more efficient when mining them. The next couple of days, I really didn't do anything that life-changing other than completely wiping out a whole entire island, because we all know I love genocide. I then started day 859 by mining up some nether quartz. Then I found my old sugarcane farm, which of course I decided to harvest it all up, and then I stuffed it in the face of the bald guy for an extremely pretty penny. And while I was trying to harvest up a ton of carrots, I then discovered yet another bug in Cubecraft Skyblock, which it just wouldn't allow me to place any carrots down, so I just sold off all my carrots I had to the bald guy. Cubecraft, please fix your game mode and please update it. We want updates, please. The next day, I then mined up a ton of lapis. Then I decided to go around my island just selling off all the junk I had, which was pretty much just a ton of mud and wool and string, which I sold to the bald guy and actually made a ton of money. I then decided to head to the nether and do the exact same thing and just empty out my mob grinder so I can make a ton of coins, because that's what we're trying to do this video. We're trying to become a billionaire. I then may or may not have just stabbed a ton of mobs as well, kind of just spacing out, forgetting what I was supposed to do. Then I remembered, oh, I have quartz in this chest, which I then sold to the bald guy and actually found out that nether quartz sell for a ton of money. So I just sold a bunch of nether quartz. Day 865, I was finally able to craft up a ton of hoppers to finish my cactus farm. And just like that, we now had a fully working auto cactus farm, which had already made a ton of money to say it didn't even have a lot of hoppers in it. I needed money and I needed it fast, and what's the best way to make money? Sitting around doing nothing. So that was what I did. I just went AFK for a few days just to see how much my grinders could actually generate. And when I came back, to my surprise, oh my god, they generate a ton of money. Honestly, I was really shocked how much my grinders were making, because I genuinely thought they wouldn't make me that much, because I only AFK'd for just a little over an hour. But oh boy was I wrong. They made a ton of money, and imagine if I just AFK'd for 100 days straight. Oh my god, I'd be the richest person on Cubecraft. Also, if you're watching this video and you've yet to make a cactus farm, what the hell are you doing? Make one right now. They are extremely OP. So do it now. I'm forcing you guys to make your own auto cactus farms. And if you've already got one, send some screenshots in my Discord server. Link is down in the description. The next day, I mined a ton of lapis to finally hit 10k, which is pretty insane. I then discovered yet another bug, which is pretty common in Cubecraft these days, where I literally spent so long trying to mine diamonds, and then I found another bug right after that of me trying to put stuff in a chest and it just wouldn't let me. Cubecraft, please fix your game mode, please. With all the sand I mounted, I then turned it into green stained glass so I could finish off a barrier around my cactus farm. Then I decided to mine all the way until day 873. The next day I decided to log onto my sister's iPhone on her account and then make her AFK. So basically I turned my sister into a slave. I'm a great big brother, am I right? And then after that I decided to spend my time efficiently and spend way too long, and I mean way too long, trying to make an ice farm. Originally, I was going to do this crazy build, but I just needed a ton of ice. But I had to change my plans because for some reason, none of the water would turn to ice. And I generally got really frustrated with it. Over the next couple of days, I didn't do anything that productive other than really grabbing some nether quartz and mining a ton of jungle wood. Just so I could make a cocoa bean farm. I don't know why I did it. I was just bored waiting for stuff to be able to make money. That was pretty much my only reason. So that was exactly what I did. The next days I decided to actually be productive and make a ton of money. I then sold all of my cactus I had already gathered up, and oh boy did it gather up a ton. After selling a ton of cactus, I then sold a ton of pork chops and a ton of gunpowder. Like, trust me, I sold so much gunpowder, I could probably fund an entire army. The next day, I was finally able to get Fortune 5 on my diamond pickaxe, which is pretty insane to say I got 6 levels on my diamond pick. I then chopped down a ton of dark oak wood, which of course I sold to the bold guy. Honestly, it's pretty crazy how much he's charging just to take my wood. Then I decided to harvest up a ton of sugarcane. After harvesting up a ton of sugarcane, I then sold it to the bold guy, and now I'm starting to realize he has a problem with all this white powder. Honestly, I really should send him to an AA meeting. I also gathered up a ton of netherwort in the nether, which again I sold to the bold guy. Honestly, I am making so much bank off his addictions. I spent day 884 all the way to day 894 building a second layer to my cactus farm because I just wanted to be able to make even more money as fast as possible. But luckily for you, you guys don't have to see that whole process, and cool transition. And honestly, this cactus farm is so good, it generates like 2.4 million an hour. It could probably generate upwards of 5 mil if Cubecraft didn't remove a bunch of items when it's all on the ground. Day 895, I was finally able to repair my diamond armor, which was almost broken, and honestly, I was looking nice. Then I decided to harvest up a ton of sugarcane from my small sugarcane farm, which again I sold to the bold guy for over 1 million coins. I then spent the rest of day 895 all the way to day 898 just going AFK. So when I come back, I can harvest it all up and make a ton of money because I'm not done yet. So that was exactly what I did. When I came back from being AFK, I got to work and started harvesting up all of the stuff my grinders had gathered up. That included pork chops, gunpowders, and cactus, which again I sold to the bold guy. But honestly, I still wasn't done yet. I needed more money. Because even though I had all these grinders, I was just not proud of myself yet. And honestly, I needed more money. And so, with there only being a little bit of time left, I decided that I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to go and grab as much melons as I can just to sell it to the bold guy because I only had a few minutes left until this video ends. So I needed to work hard and grab as many melons so I can sell them to the bold guy. And so, after grabbing up all the melons, I ran to the bold guy, sold the melons, and it put us over 130 million coins, which is honestly pretty insane to say I only made that in one video, which is crazy to think about. And honestly, I'm pretty proud of myself. Now subscribe. And so, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am back uploading one video every week for the rest of 2024, which is pretty cool. So subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. And I want to apologize to you guys for just not uploading much recently, but it is changing now. I don't know when the next Cubecraft Skyblock video is going to be out, because mainly I'm really burnt out doing Cubecraft content, mainly because they just don't update the server enough and add new content and stuff like that. So I don't know when that's going to be out. It might come out. I do kind of want to end it on 1000 days, so I do have some ideas. I just don't know when I'm going to do it. And also, if you haven't already, join my Discord server. That way you can take part in future videos like this and join in future events. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.